On this crossover edition, we got the 49ers coming to Houston. Not quite the DeMeco Ryans returning home scenario, but he takes on his former team. And the San Fran 49ers, they just find ways to get it done, which we respect here in Houston because they can't get it done here in Houston.
You are Locked On NFL Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Battle Red Nation from H-Town to your town, and your town today will be San Fran family, the San Francisco 49 family. This is the crossover show of the Locked On Texans and the Locked On 49ers podcast. I'm John Hickman, and I am joined by my man, and it's been a while, Brian Peacock, repping the 49ers. It's going to be a fun show because we got to find out just how are you guys getting it done with all of the injuries, and can y'all share us your way of life, of living? Because Houston can't get it done, Brian.
It's one of the strangest things ever because on one hand, Kyle Shanahan ticked off the football gods, and there's just nonstop injuries. There's another one that popped up this week. The only guy that's really given the 49ers a pass rush outside of Nick Bosa is Bryce Huff. And now Bryce Huff has a hamstring. It's going to keep him out a couple of weeks and definitely going to keep him out of this game. And so I don't know where the pass rush is going to come from. It's going to have to be schemed up. But on the other hand, the football gods have been kind to Kyle Shanahan in that they've still found a way to win. And they're one win away from last year. And last year they were devastated with injuries as well, but only managed 6 wins. And this year they already have 5 wins totaled out of 7 games. So 5-2 records. Somehow they're getting good quarterback play from their backup in Mac Jones. They're getting team defense. And, you talk about DeMeco Ryans and his old team, the San Francisco 49ers, and a lot of familiarity. And I think really the theme is coaching. And the theme is going to be coaching in this football game. And the theme for the 49ers season is coaching. It's been huge to get Robert Saleh back because the 49ers have struggled to find that continuity on defense since Saleh and then DeMeco Ryans left. And it was a couple of one-and-done defensive coordinators. And getting Robert Saleh back has really fixed a lot, especially the run defense for the 49ers. And then Kyle Shanahan is Kyle Shanahan, and he does a number on teams. And the 49ers find a way to just get enough offense and win these football games. And it's somewhat magical, the run that the 49ers are on right now, the way they're able to do this without George Kittle for most of the season, without their starting quarterback in Brock Purdy, without Nick Bosa, and now without Fred Warner. Every injury you think, oh, well, now surely this is the one that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and the Niners won't be able to overcome this. And lo and behold, Fred Warner was the latest big one, and they still were able to win on Sunday Night Football prime time against the Falcons, who were coming in hot too.
Yeah, this show, we're going to dive into the game predictions. I got so excited I got ahead of myself. We're going to dive into the game predictions to end off today's show. Look at some of the, of course, biggest storylines and key matchups, and get a feel for one another's team right now. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Pick app and use code Locked On NFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So again, you look at what we have going on here in Houston, and for the most part, this has been a healthy team. And then on the contrast, we go to San Fran, right? We go to the Bay Area, and you guys have not been a healthy team. However, and then the healthiness that the 49ers lack are at positions of major need, big contract guys, your quarterback. But however, again, you look at a 5-2 record for San Fran. You get down here to Houston, 2-4. And so I just want to let San Francisco 49er fans know that for the Houston Texans right now, the team that a lot of people expected to be one of the leading teams in the AFC, we just ain't got it right now, man. So it's tough. But on the flip side, you look at a team like San Francisco that went through a lot last year, a lot of adversity. But Brian, everything you're telling me is they found a way to get over each and every obstacle. Tell me a little bit more. Tell my fans, the Texan fans, a little bit more about just what the San Francisco 49ers are right now.
Yeah, and it's always going to be efficiency. You look at estimated points. Estimated points added, EPA. Expected points added.
Expected, yeah.
Expected points.
Sometimes
added.
I say earned points because I get
Yeah.
to like baseball. But
Yeah, you know the wars and the per 48. There's one for every sport. With the 49ers, it's always Kyle Shanahan does a great job of having efficient offenses and efficient passing games. And even if they don't look like a Mahomes or a Josh Allen, throwing missiles all over the field, sort of a passing game, it's always very efficient. And you go back to Jimmy Garoppolo, he was among the leaders in EPA per play. And you go to Brock Purdy is one of the leaders among EPA per play. And so Kyle Shanahan is just really good at figuring out a way to combat defenses and have an offense that's going to put up enough points to win a football game in a lot of ways, as long as they're able to stay in front of the sticks and keep drives alive and get good enough quarterback play and play good enough defense. And they've done just enough of all of that. And the one hallmark of Kyle Shanahan teams is running the football, and they've really not been that good at it. Christian McCaffrey's been better out of the backfield as a receiver than as a runner so far this year, but they got on track last week. And that's what I'm really curious about against the Texans is, what is that run game going to look like for the 49ers? Because they got away from the wide zone and the running laterally stuff, and they came right at the Atlanta Falcons. And I think the Falcons front is a little bit lighter, and they saw a team that they could bully up front. Now, the Texans is a different beast on the defensive side of the ball. So are the 49ers going to try to go back to more wide zone stuff? Or are you going to see more of this gap, more power runs, more coming straight at the Texans defense? Because it was really the first time all year that we had a chance to see Christian McCaffrey get a little bit more to the second level, have an opportunity to shake some linebackers and some defensive backs, because the yards before contact were really tough to come by so far this season for the 49ers in the run game. And one of the biggest reasons was getting George Kittle back too. And how
he was good
sort
in
of
that game.
hold the team before that Atlanta Falcons game. He challenged him. He's like, look, I want to get 40 runs. And that's usually one of the big hallmarks for Kyle Shanahan. He's like, I want to get 40 run plays, because that means we're not throwing from behind. That means we're running the ball well. We're having long drives. We're staying on the football field on offense. He wants to run the ball 40 times. He challenged his team. George Kittle was back, which adds definitely a pep in everybody's step. And they were able to get it done against the Atlanta Falcons last week, and they didn't have to lean on their backup quarterback and banged up receiving core in the passing game.
Yeah, you look at the Houston Texans team right now that's only allowing 3.8 yards, rushing yards per carry, and then also look at how they go about stopping the run. Will Anderson, I think, is just as good at stopping the run as he is as getting after the quarterback, and sometimes I feel like he's better as a run defender. And so you kind of mentioned, does CMC and Kyle Shanahan and CMC in the run game, do they look to get a little bit more wide zone? I think for San Francisco, that wouldn't bode well, because Will Anderson and also Jalen Petrie at the second level, who does a very good job of crashing down, would really hurt that. And so I look at, maybe different ways for San Francisco to combat that. It would be running towards the D tackles. But then also right now, you're looking at a defense that they've cleaned up on their missed tackles. It does seem like the missed tackles still come in moments where it's critical for Houston, but it's not at a high number. The last 3 games dating back to Tennessee, it's been under 7 missed tackles each game, which is an improvement from how they started. So defensively, I look at different ways that Houston can come out and win this game. A game that they desperately need. I think defensively, Houston holds the cards to be able to stop CMC, also to be able to stop, it kind of combat George Kittle a little bit. One thing about George Kittle I love is he's not a one-dimensional player. Extremely nasty, does a great job of sealing off the edge, but he's also going to be going up and having a matchup against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, 2 guys that when they're at their A game, they completely wreck anything an offense is trying to throw at them. So if there's an advantage for San Francisco, it would be going up against the Texans defensive tackles. But then also, again, like Will Anderson, he understands and he reads and reacts very well, processes well, and he's able to disrupt plays from anywhere he's lined up on the defensive line.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. And when you start to look at how this game is going to go, and I know we're going to get into the key matchups here, I think, you started telling a little bit of the story about how this could go and why there might not be a lot of points scored on Sunday.
Yeah, it may not be. And as long as Houston pulls it out, man, that's all they need to do. I don't care if it's 3-0. It won't be that, because I trust Kyle Shanahan to score more than 0 points, and I trust Ka'imi Fairbairn to at least get us 6 points here in Houston. When we come back, let's look at some of the key matchups and also a storyline that we may be overlooking. We got more Locked On Texans and also Locked On 49ers when we return. '49er fans and Texan fans, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make different decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season and the excitement of Sunday's game when Houston takes on San Fran at home with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player stat projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or CMC rushing for a touchdown. Maybe you want to get a little creative, Texas fans. And with Nico Collins potentially being out, do you take the more or less on Dalton Schultz? No matter what it is, you're in the game. It's also fun to follow other players in the app and copy their lineups with one click. So Prospects has almost everything you want to make your football experience even more exciting. Download the Prospect app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prospects is good to be right. And additionally, for my homers, or for the travelers out there, San Fran travels well. Houston, they need you in the NRG Stadium. With the NFL season being back with a must-win game, the Texans need y'all in the NRG, butts and seats. And if you haven't got a ticket yet, you can get your ticket with Game Time. Game Time takes the hassle away. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it can be frustrating buying sporting event tickets. But again, Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. Fast, easy, backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. It's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way you can buy tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Continuing the conversation surrounding the Houston Texans, San Francisco 49ers, where I'm a little jealous because, again, you guys just find ways to win games. Now, no Brock Purdy. Houston will be facing former first-round pick Mac Jones. Can you give the Texan fans a little insight on just how well Mac Jones has played for the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, Mac Jones has been really good filling in for Brock Purdy, and he has some people trying to make this into a quarterback controversy because things have gone so well with a 5-2 record right now. That's not the case. There's no quarterback controversy when Brock Purdy's healthy. It's Brock Purdy's team. But to have a really good backup that can come in and start, and a guy that could probably start for a lot of teams around the NFL, you start looking around and looking at the Vikings,
New York, Minnesota,
Carolina. Mac Jones might be on the Sam Darnold plan pretty soon here, and resurrecting his career after a stint with Kyle Shanahan. The Niners do have him under contract. A smart deal by the Niners to get him on a 2-year deal instead of the 1-year deal too. And obviously they've needed him, and so it's been massive. And he's just a really nice fit for the way he plays. And so Kyle Shanahan was right to have liked Mac Jones in the draft, and obviously they went a different way in the draft. But I think a lot of people say, "Oh, now he got his guy." It's like, well, look, if it would have been a bad move if the Niners drafted Mac Jones number 3 overall too. I mean, he wasn't really a first round guy. He should be trading up to get Mac Jones with 3 first-round picks at number 3 overall. But he's a solid quarterback, and he deserves another opportunity probably to start in the NFL, and he's proving that right now, especially when he gets in the right scheme where he can play with timing, and he's got a really good coordinator. And we've seen the level of play raised for certain quarterbacks under Kyle Shanahan, and it's all about timing. It's all about playing with timing. You have to have some guts. You have to be able to throw the ball over the middle of the field in some tight windows. You have to be good with pre-snap looks and know what you're looking at and know where the ball's expected to go and get through your progressions and get there. And Mac Jones can do those things. And, he doesn't have quite as much athleticism as Brock Purdy, but, he's got a tick better arm. And he can make some throws down the field. Last week, he tried to chuck one deep, and it looked like an arm punt, and he was lucky not to get intercepted on that one. So, he's not a freak of nature as far as his height, weight, speed, and arm strength goes. But he's just a solid quarterback, can play in timing, and he's thrown a couple of picks, but they haven't hurt the 49ers, and the Niners have just done such a good job of picking each other up. And Mac Jones threw an interception last week, and what happened? Niners went 3 and out on the defensive side of the ball to get the ball back to the 49ers offense again. So it's just been really complimentary football for the 49ers, and Mac Jones has been really solid jumping in for Brock Purdy, and he has all the base level things that Kyle Shanahan likes in a quarterback and needs. He's smart, he's got some toughness to his game, he's accurate, and he plays with timing. And I'll never forget it. This is the simplest way to put a Kyle Shanahan quarterback. Brock Purdy's rookie year. And remember, he was like just out of the gate. Brock Purdy was playing awesome for, and he was the number 3 guy, and there was 2 injured quarterbacks. And one of the reporters asked Brock Purdy after he won a football game, why? This is crazy. Why are you playing so well as a rookie out of nowhere? 7th round pick, the literal last pick in the draft. And Brock Purdy said, I don't know. It's not that hard. I just do what the coach tells me. So that's what Kyle Shanahan just do. Kyle Shanahan knows what he wants you to do. Just do it. Kyle Shanahan's playing quarterback. Right? He's going to tell you what to do. You just got to be able to do it, and that's all it takes.
So from the outside looking in, scouting the Houston Texans, what have been some of your questions, concerns, or because I kind of want to have a back and forth conversation on just what do you think is going on with this 2-4 team in Houston?
Well, I love what's going on defense. I was just looking at the rankings for scoring defenses in the NFL. The Houston Texans are number 1 in the league, less than 15 points per game. That defense is given up 14.7 points, I think it is. And the Niners are number 7 in the league, 19 point something. So, if either one of these offenses gets 20 points on the other team's defense, they're doing something better than other teams have against that team this year. And so that's why it's one of the lower over-unders in the league this week. I think 41.5 points, and I might take the under on that. But so the defense is ready to play, and I trust DeMeco Ryans. I've seen him coach. He is a really good coach. Kyle Shanahan talked about he could be president if you want to. He was all in on DeMeco Ryans early on when DeMeco was still playing and Kyle Shanahan was an offensive coordinator under Kubiak. So
spent some time in Houston together.
Yeah, and so the question is, you have a really good, smart head coach, a leader of men. The defense is on point. You got what's supposed to be a star quarterback. How is this team not AFC championship game ready? And let alone being 2-4 right now. And the 2 teams they beat have a combined 2 wins on the season themselves, right? It's like the Titans. You're going to be like, hey, at least they beat the Titans. That doesn't even count.
So Houston created a mess. They made their bed and they're laying in it. Moved on from Bobby Slowick after 2 years. And for some people, that was questionable. Him being brought over was questionable at the beginning. First-time play caller with a rookie head coach. You want somebody that knows the NFL from the play calling perspective. When they moved on after 2 years, and then the Houston Texans looked at what they did in the past, what failed them, and they did it again. So they went with another first-time play caller.
Yeah.
In Nick Caley, who comes from the Shanahan tree, also the New England Josh McDaniels, Charlie Weiss tree. And with that tree, there has been, for CJ, he's had to take on more in terms of identifying, the mic, where the blitz is coming from. But then also outside of Nico Collins, there has not been a wide receiver that has really left their mark on the game for Houston, especially when Houston takes on teams that have winning records. That's a problem. Better teams come in town, or they go to better teams' houses and they get kicked out. So that's an issue for the Houston Texans. But then you also just look at for the second year in a row, and they have gotten better. Has it been by a whole lot? No, but the offensive line is an issue. The communication on where to pick up stunts and blitzes and wherever the pressure comes in, what's the task for that? It's just been up and down, and for a lot, it's been down. So you look at a quarterback that has consistently and constantly operated under pressure since his sophomore year, That quarterback now looks to be a little bit gun shy. That quarterback now has bad tendencies, which creates he takes a bad situation to make it worse. Instead of a 4-yard loss from a sack, it's now an 18-yard loss and a potential safety. So some of the bad mechanics has come from having a bad offensive line, and then also you look at some of the other weapons that are supposed to be weapons for an offense that are either not being put out there enough. You look at the rookies not having a lot of opportunities or targets. Justin Watson has been playing more than maybe Jalen Noah throughout the year, which is a mistake. And then when they are out there, what the offense is asking of them may be a lot for their young careers, and they're not able to kind of play freely. I'll sum it up by saying the Houston Texans just crap themselves in the offseason. That's the best way I can put it without getting, the bleep.
Yeah.
And now they're trying different ways to kind of clean it up. But every time they try to clean it up, it's another crap that comes out of I wish I could curse, but we can't. But it just looks overall bad for the Houston Texans offense, and that has held them back. They held them back against LA. They held them back against the Buccaneers. It held them back against the Jaguars. And then again, Monday Night Football, a very late game, it held them back against the Seattle Seahawks, a game where Seattle was trying to, I think in my eyes, trying to give the game to the Houston Texans with the amount of turnovers that they were able to create and cause, and their offense stalled as well because of a great defensive performance in the second half by the Houston Texans. So offense is just bad.
Yeah, I saw that sack and it was like, oh, there's a classic Sam Darnold moment, right? Is this where things go south for the Seahawks? And then the Texans offense gives it right back. And
gets right back.
And so, yeah, it's got to be head scratching. I have to imagine it's maddening for the Houston Texans fans out there because of the way I laid it out earlier. With the defense is good. You believe in the head coach. At least I still believe in the head coach. I don't know what
fans right now are slowly but surely. Fans are already jumped off the Nick Caserio train.
Okay.
Fans are starting to jump off the DeMeco Ryans train. Fans are now also starting to jump off C.J. Stroud is our franchise quarterback train. It's been a ripple effect of bad decisions have now led to maybe these guys are not the guys that's going to get the Houston Texans to the promised land. And they got to win against you guys when you guys come to town on Sunday. So let's talk about our game predictions before we get out of here. More Locked On 49ers, more Locked On Texans talk when we get back. However, 49er and Texan fans, some of you guys may be driving to Houston to watch the game. Some of you guys may be flying to Houston to watch the game. But if you are driving and don't want to use your vehicle, you don't want to put those miles on your car, then go get a rental. And if you get a rental, try your hardest to get a Mazda, because Mazda makes every drive feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS top safety picks than anyone else. This is what Mazda does. Travel across country, feel smooth, feel comfortable in your vehicle in that drive. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. With Mazda, move and be moved. Closing out today's conversation with my man, Brian Peacock, San Francisco representative, advocate of the 49ers, especially the great job that you and Eric Crocker do for Locked On, the Locked On 49ers. For the Locked On 49er listeners and viewers, I'm John Hickman with the Locked On Texans. We advocate for our teams, and this was a game where I thought the Houston Texans would figure it out and get right. I'm still going to roll with that.
Okay.
I'm still going to roll with it. I think Houston this year has beat up on teams with some bad situations. San Francisco is a damn good team, coached well from top to bottom. The injuries and where the injuries are, I think will eventually play into the favor for the Houston Texans. As a Patriot fan myself, I know who Mac Jones is. And I know when the pressure breaks down, I know what Mac Jones' tendencies are. Now, granted, he's cleaned up on a lot of those bad tendencies. But can he clean up on those tendencies against Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter? And how Houston has been doing a very good job of limiting quarterbacks once they get to the red zone, which is an area I think you guys are one of the worst in right now.
It's struggled in the red zone,
I
especially.
think it's us. I think it's the Texans and 49ers.
Might be, yeah. Good job getting to the red zone. Not as good once you get there.
Right.
And one thing, since you know Mac Jones well, I think the biggest thing is you see the difference between Mac Jones having an offensive coordinator who's actually a defensive coordinator, and then having maybe one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL, and how different a player can look in those scenarios. You talk about the Sam Darnolds, and he's in a no-win situation, a place where every quarterback stinks, and then he starts getting better coaching on better teams. And lo and behold, he starts to look better. And I think that is the story with Mac Jones. He's going to reflect his environment, I think, quite a bit as a quarterback right now. And having a good coach and a good system is very helpful for a guy like that. That's a bleak picture. And that's why, and you might, reading your face and your reaction, you might have had a different thought than me about that when I said that I thought this game might be a game where I'd take the under. Like, I don't think there's a lot of points potentially being scored. Did you?
I agree.
Oh, you do agree? Okay, I wasn't sure. Maybe I don't agree with that one.
I agree. I think so. When I look at what the defense did for Houston against Seattle, of course, Jackson Smith and Njigba did a great job, over 100 yards, a TD again, 3 weeks in a row. Nobody else hurt Houston, but you also look at how great Houston's defense played. There was a stretch where after Seattle went up 14-0, there was a stretch where they only, I think in 6 drives, 130 yards, a blocked field goal, and 2 field goals. They also, again, created those turnovers, sack, strip, fumble, touchdown from Will Anderson, 2 interceptions. The Houston Texans defense is built to play not only with a lead, which they rarely have, but they're built to play to keep themselves in the game. It seems like as the game goes by, their instincts kick in and they make more and more plays. Well, San Fran doesn't have a JSN right now. Shout out to Kendrick Bourne. He's playing some good football for you guys. CMC, I think, is top 10 in receiving yards in the NFL. Still a playmaker. Still an X factor out of the backfield. You guys have utilized them well. But for the Houston Texans, they do a good job of keeping everything in front of them for the most part defensively because of the pressure that they create from their front forward, and then also when they send Jalen Petrie on the blitz. I think that's going to just play in the favor of Houston's ability to, even if they allow a 15-yard pass, once they get to that red zone and the field shrinks for the opposing offense, and in this case San Fran, then they play even more lights out. So that's why I think it'll be a low-scoring game, and I think that the defense will do everything in their power to give the ball back to Houston's offense to score points.
And I don't think the 49ers are going to be able to run the ball like they did last week against the Falcons. They might still be able to run the ball, but it's not going to be, if it's more like the 3.5 yards per carry the Texans are giving up, well, that just happens to be what Christian McCaffrey's averaging this year, 3.5 yards per carry on the ground. So if it's that type of game, and you can get Mac Jones into those 3rd and long situations, and then now you have that pass rush and Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter and everybody coming after you. That's why it could be a difficult matchup for the 49ers if the Texans are able to do that. And I think as a defense, they're going to be able to do a lot of that because they're a very good unit. But on the other side, we've seen the struggles of the Texans, and so the big question becomes, the X factor is, okay, passing game, offense. CJ Stroud. Is CJ Stroud going to be a laser show and CJ Stroud's, throwing the ball over the place? Because I think the 49ers' strength is stopping the run. And so on both sides of the ball, it comes down to, okay, we've got 3rd and 8.
Who's going to make a play?
Which quarterback is going to make the plays, right? And I think that's what it'll come down to. I am a little bit surprised, though, that the Texans are favored as a 2-4 team against a 5-2 team, and the Texans are favored by 1.5 points coming into this one. Although you talk about being an advocate, I've been wrong about the 49ers most games this year, because when I think they're good, they're not. When I think it's, this injury is too much, the Falcons are probably going to win this one, man. You're going to overcome, and I've been wrong. So you talk about being an advocate. I just been wrong Yeah, I'm not an advocate. I don't know what to think anymore. And I thought the line was wrong last week because the Niners were favored. And then late money came in on the Falcons, as I expected. I think some late money is going to come in on the 49ers in this one because I think this is a little strange that the Texans are actually favored in this game based on the records and based on how these teams are playing, even with all the injuries with the 49ers. And I do like the Niners. Low-scoring game by 3 here. It's something like, one of those 18-15 games, some field goals. And that's how I envision this thing going down Sunday.
I am going to go Texans by 3, 13-10.
Ooh, grind it out game.
Yeah, I think both quarterbacks will both offenses find a way to get into the red zone. And again, Houston will be without Nico Collins. He's in concussion protocol. I don't see him playing. No Christian Kirk. So Houston is down to the 2 rookies that hadn't got a lot of targets in the first place. But Dalton Schultz, is still available. And this is a game where I think C.J. Stroud will either make or break the season. Not his career, but the season for the Houston Texans to get them to 3-5, respectable, and still in play for that 7 seed wild card spot in the AFC. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I can't wait. And it's going to be, you know what? Last thing, X Factor. Advantage Shanahan knowing DeMeco Ryans so well as far as X's and O's goes. I think that could be something that you put on the San Francisco 49ers side just because of knowledge. And I'm going to lean to Shanahan whenever there's one of those matchups. And Shanahan's usually really good against McVay. He was good against the Falcons, who he's very familiar with guys and the coaching and how a person runs their team. That's usually an advantage, Kyle Shanahan, which might be that extra 3 points the Niners need to win this.
Man, it's going to be – I don't think it's going to be a fun one. I think it'll be a hard one.
Yeah, right.
I think it's going to be a hard game, and hopefully Houston pulls it out for my Texan fans. And, of course, for you guys across the bay, San Fran, I know you're hoping that you guys pull it out as well. You'll go to 6-2 on the season, which bodes well for the season you guys are having with the injuries. It just speaks to the culture and the coaching in that building. Thank you guys for watching today's episode. I'm John Hickman. That's Brian Peacock of the Locked On 49ers. I'm Locked On Texans. And H-Town to Cali, just like Robert Horry. Well, this time it'll be Cali to H-Town, like Dwight Howard. That's a reference to a Houston song here. Until next time, ladies and gents, both teams, let's have a good weekend. Let's have a hard-fought game. And hopefully, I'm going to say it, the Texans win. Peace.